it just felt bad. Something did not feel good on that floor. So, I want to talk to you guys about something a little spooky. I mentioned in a video that I made like a year ago that some of my family and I do some paranormal investigations. And it's mostly me and my mom and my aunt and my uncle. And my friends aren't so into it because it freaks them out. But, I mean, whatever. To each their own. I want to talk to you guys about one specific instance where we went on a trip to Kentucky to a Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and it is or used to be a tuberculosis hospital, and then it was transferred, it was changed into I think it was a nursing home, and then it closed down for good. We did, I believe it was a 4-hour investigation. We booked a 4-hour investigation, and you can do all of this on their website, just so you know. Like, I'm not a professional paranormal investigator that's gonna call them up and be like, hey, let me investigate your thing, like whatever. Like, no, I'm no Ghost Adventures, but we were really interested in it. And so we did the 4-hour investigation, and we got there at midnight, and we were there till 4 o'clock in the morning. And I am a very sensitive empath, and I can detect like different energies, and I'm really in touch with like the spiritual world, however you want to call it. But at the time, I did not know any of that, and that was probably my first mistake when I went, because I put myself in, I don't want to say danger, but I was susceptible to a lot of spiritual attack that I was not aware of. And this was about 5 years ago now, I think. 4 or 5 years ago that we went, and going up to the place, I was a nervous wreck, and now I kind of understand why. But when we first got to Kentucky, I live in North Carolina, so it was about a 9-hour drive. When we first got to Kentucky, we drove up to the place because my uncle and my aunt had been there before. So they took me and my mom up to see the location, and this place was huge. Like, you think that it looks big in like the videos and pictures and stuff that you see? No, it's huge. And I am like heart racing, can't breathe, whatever. Just going up the driveway to look at the place. It's not even dark outside yet. So anyway, go to the hotel room, take a little bit of a rest, because we're gonna be there all night, and then it's time to leave. Once we got there and we were inside, waiting to be taken around, it was fine because we had a tour guide with us. And the first thing that we did when the tour, it was kind of like a tour, it was half tour, half investigation. The first thing that we did was the body shoot. And this is where, I hope my light doesn't die, this is where they would take all of the people that have passed away, to put them in hearses or whatever else to transfer them to the families or to a funeral home or what have you, so the other patients wouldn't see it. And it was this big, long tunnel. If I think about it, I'll try to insert some pictures around. But it's this really long tunnel, and you could just feel a sense of just overwhelming, just over the entire place really, but this specifically, it just felt like death. There wasn't really that much activity that I noticed, but after we did the body shoot, we went to the first floor. It was either the first or the second floor, I don't remember. And this is where it was all open. There was a lot of windows. You could see the outside. I mean, there's inside rooms, obviously, but there was a lot of windowscape. And it was like everywhere that you walked, it felt like somebody was watching you. And it was really eerie, really creepy. Nothing really happened. Same thing with the first floor. Nothing really happened. Didn't really see anything. Very eerie atmosphere. So we go and we take a break, just like as a breather. And so start the investigation again. We go to the 5th floor, and that was where they had the children. And that is the floor where the infamous nurse hanged herself. And right outside of the 502, you could just, it was almost this instant nauseating feeling. On this floor, I felt somebody tugging at the bottom of my shirt. You know how, like, if a kid is standing next to you and they're like tugging on your shirt, like trying to get your attention? That happened while we were there. I also felt something in my hair. Somebody touched, like, you know, just kind of like pulling at my hair. It was just kind of like this, you know what I mean? Same thing happened with my mom. But then we had a ball, and he's normally on the 3rd floor, but we hadn't got there yet. But there was a ball up there, so we sat it down, and we were trying to contact this spirit that people say hangs around, named Timmy, and it's a little boy. Nothing really happened with him, but it was interesting to try to interact with him regardless. And so after we were done with the 5th floor, we went to go down to the 4th floor. But this is where it started to kind of get bad for me. The guide was telling us that people have been pushed down those stairs, and I felt like somebody was like breathing down their neck. But on the 4th floor, we got as far, or I personally, me and my mom, got as far as the doorway, the entryway to the level. And we stopped and we were like, no, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Because it just felt bad. And later I found out that that was the floor that people say they see this entity called Big Black, which is like this big, massive, excuse me, this big, massive black mass that will literally take over everything that it comes in contact with. People have lost track of time. People, you can't hear when it's around. You can't see. Like, it's just a big black mass. I don't know what's going on in my voice right now. But I found out about that later on. I also found out that this is the floor that people report seeing a creature called the Creeper, which is this little thing that I don't really know how big it is because I didn't see it, thank God. But it crawls along the floor and like up the walls and around the ceiling, and just not something that I personally want to come in contact with. So we stayed off of that floor and went back up to the 5th floor. Sorry, interruptions. So we went down to the 3rd floor, and I think that this was probably my favorite floor, just because there was a lot of really cool stuff that happened. My favorite part, I think, was I was looking down the hallway, and it's nothing but like old rooms down through there, and it was almost like somebody was like peeking their head out to kind of like look and see like, what's that, you know, like they were peeking their head out from behind this door to look out and down the hallway, and like then it would go back in, and then they would poke their head back out again. And it was just really interesting because we were the only ones that were on that side of the floor, so I know that it wasn't anybody else. But and then we left and we went back to the hotel and went to sleep. Surprisingly enough, I went straight to sleep after we got done, which is not something that I would normally do after all of that. But then the next day happened. So we were getting ready to go. I think we were getting ready to go to lunch or to try to find some food. We were going to go out to eat. And I was waiting on my mom to get ready, and my neck was burning. But I was like, why does my neck burn so bad? So I had my mom look at it and swear, like Bible right now, like scratch mark across the back of my neck that I do not remember happening. And I don't remember anything touching my neck. I mean, I felt something like pull up my hair a little bit, but I don't remember anything touching my neck. I don't remember getting scratched. I could have done it myself in my sleep, or I could have done it whenever. Like, it very well could have been me. But 2 little scratch marks around the back of my neck. I didn't think anything of it. We went to eat. We went to explore Kentucky, whatever, exploring tourism. Well, on the way back home, the next day after that, like I said, it was a 9-hour drive, so I was bored out of my mind. And I went through a lot of our pictures that we took. I went through our voice recorder, and at one point in the voice recorder, I wish that we had one that, or the one that we had was the one that you could connect to the computer, because I would let you guys hear it. But my mom got a cheapo one. So, at one point, my aunt had said, you know, I have this device that you can speak into if you have anything that you want to say. Don't be afraid, because we're not going to hurt you. And it's like this little whisper that goes, I'm not. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then there was another one that said something, we were like, is there anybody here? Is there anybody that wants to talk? No. And then the last one that I got, and this could have been anything, but I just don't remember, so it could be easily explainable. But it's like, you know how in medical TV shows or movies, somebody just drops like the tray, like the surgical tray on the floor, and it makes this really loud clattery sound? Well, that's what it sounded like. It sounded like somebody dropped one of the surgical tool trays on the floor and took off running. It was like running. And I don't remember hearing that at any point during the night. I don't remember any loud noises. The only loud noise that I remember the entire time that we were there was when somebody was in the morgue, and they were opening the body things. I don't remember what they're called. The things that you put the body slabs that you put I'm making myself sound really stupid, but you know what I'm talking about. Those are really loud, but we were nowhere near that unless we were in the room, but we didn't have our voice recorder going in there. We took a bunch of pictures, but we didn't have the voice recorder going in there. So who knows what that was? It could have been anything. And then for about 2 weeks after I got home, I did not feel like myself. I had developed this awful cough, and nobody else around me was sick. I hadn't been around anybody that was sick, but I had this horrible cough. I was depressed. Even still to this day, I have a hard time looking at my pictures from the place. But I just felt disassociated. I couldn't look at the evidence. I couldn't look at the pictures. I couldn't listen to the EVPs. I couldn't even really talk about it without feeling like claustrophobic. And I'm pretty sure that something attached itself to me while I was there, because I am so susceptible to energies. And I don't know what it was. I don't know if the scratch mark on my neck had something to do with it. There's a train going outside, just so you guys know. But I don't know what happened. I don't know if something had just formed an attachment to my spirit, to my existence, to my energies, or if whenever we were on that 4th floor, something saw me for who I am and the things that I could do, even though I wasn't aware that I could do them at the time, and just like grasped onto me to try to take over or whatever. I have no idea. And it was really hard to get out of. Like, I think that was the hardest experience that I've ever had as far as like paranormal activity goes, just because I felt like I didn't have any control of it. So I'm really careful now about the places that I visit and the things that I do and the communication levels that I have or whatever. Like, I will not communicate with anything that is not of light and love. I refuse. For that reason, because I'm aware now of what happened, and I'm aware that I didn't protect myself well enough, and I'm aware that because of my spiritual being and my energy and the way that I absorb things and the way that I can connect to the other side, I was very, very vulnerable in that state, and it probably wasn't a good idea that I was there. So I'm really careful with things now. This is not to say that I wouldn't recommend going, because I really would. I highly would. It's a very interesting place. It's a very historical place with a lot of information. If you guys are into memorabilia, they have a gift shop, even though I don't know why you would have a gift shop in a place like that, but you guys can look it up online. You can watch the videos. I know a lot of the paranormal investigators, like the more well-known ones, have went. I know Zach Bagans has gone. He goes quite frequently. The tour guide that we were with actually told us that he visits one room in particular and leaves flowers quite often. I know Taps went, Ghost Hunters went, or is Taps Ghost Hunters? I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of the ghost hunting TV shows anymore, but what I would go again. My mom actually wants to go again. But yeah, so I don't want to say that I was almost possessed, but I might have been. If I was, that's the closest that I've ever been to being any kind of anything like that, and honestly, that's the closest that I ever want to be to any of that. So, with that being said, if you guys would like more of these videos, because the Lord knows I have so many paranormal experiences that I have lost count. If you would like to see more of these videos, then please, 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 I would appreciate it so much if you would subscribe to me and tell me your first paranormal experience in the comments below if you see this. Have you ever seen a ghost? Have you ever encountered anything that you couldn't explain? Because I really love these stories and I would like to know about it. But anyway, until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Bye!